Chancellor RGNUL, to please invite the Honorable Chancellor to deliver the Chancellor's address. Sir, please.
Honorable Mr. Justice S.J. Wajifdar, the Acting Chief Justice, Punjab and Haryana High Court, and the Honorable Chancellor Rajiv Gandhi National University of Law. Sir, I have the honor to request your Lordship to deliver the Chancellor's address.
Chief Justice of India, Justice A.R. Dave, Judge Supreme Court, and visitor to the Rajiv Gandhi National University of Law, Justice Hemant Gupta, Justice Rajiv Bhalla, members of the General Council, my distinguished colleagues, Professor Jaswal, Professor Sanghu, Registrar, faculty, and staff members, ladies and gentlemen, and above all, the people of the day, dear students. It is an honor to welcome this distinguished gathering to the third convocation of the Rajiv Gandhi National University for Law. It is a matter of great pride for the Punjab and Haryana High Court that its former Chief Justice is today the Chief Justice of India. We are indeed privileged and honored that this auspicious occasion is graced by the Chief Justice of India and by the senior most judge of the Supreme Court of India, Justice Dave, who incidentally was my Chief Justice in Bombay. Now, when you all took your oath and stood up to take it, and said, I do, I remembered one of the most charming and magical sights that I've seen in wildlife. I mean it as a compliment, don't get worried. It was off the coast of Australia. It's been happening for thousands of years. The smallest species of penguins, called the fairy penguins, magically appear in the ocean just after sunset, come ashore, feed their chicks, tend to their nests, and again, just before sunrise, go back to the ocean, forage for food, and the cycle goes on and on. They are protected as far as possible from predators and from human interference. A decade ago, the Rajiv Gandhi National University for Law began its journey of providing, for many years to come, a safe haven and a center for learning. Each year, just as the penguins, they come ashore to this 50-acre safe haven, fulfill their purpose, and when they leave, a new generation comes in, seeking admission and going through the process again. parents and the children are satisfied that the university has fulfilled your dreams and has succeeded in its mission of providing a safe haven of learning. Let me first congratulate the successful students. You have today your years of industry, commitment and dedication have brought your dreams to full fruition today. Congratulations. The university is proud of each and every one of you. Your success is our accomplishment. You have achieved what you came here for. We only hope that you have achieved more. There are few greater joys for a parent than to see their children succeed in whatever they do in life. For the parents and guardians of our outstanding students, this is an important day and a proud moment. No matter how efficient a university, no matter how good its infrastructure, no matter how good the teaching faculty, the support and love and affection of the parents and guardians of the children on wards is always invaluable. May we, the parents and guardians, join you in your moment, in your day of joy and satisfaction at what you have achieved for your children. We hope the university carried out the object of your trust satisfactorily. As you were informed by the Vice Chancellor, the students and staff have experienced a campus with a state-of-art equipment and an excellent faculty. It is no wonder that, as the Vice Chancellor informed us, this is the first university in the country to be assessed with an A grade by the National Assessment and Accreditation Council last year. I met them over tea, and they were extremely satisfied. In fact, they sang praises of the campus, the infrastructure, the atmosphere, and the faculty. And talking about commitment, we have a Vice Chancellor who has led by example. Only 3 days ago, he underwent a delicate eye surgery. But that didn't prevent him from working ceaselessly before his surgery and right up to this moment to ensure that this auspicious occasion is a success. We must A place of learning can never succeed merely by providing you with the best physical infrastructure. It goes a long way, as does a good faculty. It all adds up to your development. There's the first step of the development as lawyers, as successful lawyers. But that is never enough. A conducive atmosphere, not only for your academic career, but for your overall growth as citizens, as human beings, is as important. Remember the oaths that you have taken. It is not merely to succeed in your profession, not merely to build up a lucrative practice. It is far more. It calls upon you to be responsible citizens and responsible professionals. One of the most important aspects today is in the context of a multicultural, a multi-social environment. There are stresses and strains. The diversity of our country in every respect, cultural, social, economic, is our greatest treasure. But to preserve it and to tap it responsibly, our greatest challenge. You have had the benefit of colleagues, of fellow students from 24 states, from 2 union territories, and from abroad. I'm sure you have interacted with all of them. This is as valuable to your education as anything else, because it, I'm sure, has imbibed you a sense of tolerance, understanding, and learning. And when you have this physical contact for 4 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, it definitely builds up a lot more tolerance in you. The practice of law has changed enormously over the years. You are fortunate. Your options are many. You can join practice, and when you join practice, you can do several things in itself. You can join the corporate world. You can join the judiciary directly. You will be spoiled for choices. Don't be in a hurry. Choose carefully. Choose wisely, and choose what is appropriate for you and not for your friend. I cannot help but repeat 3 things. First, avoid shortcuts. They may yield quick rewards, but in the long run, they pay no dividends. I would sincerely advise all of you to start with a trial court, because it is the trial lawyer who is the complete lawyer. His talents go way beyond the talents required in most other branches. There are many other things that you can learn, but the one quick way, or not the quick way, but the best way of learning it is by joining a senior, joining a chamber, and not being in a hurry to leave it. In law, as I'm sure in many other disciplines, what is not in the books is as important as what you will find in your books. Integrity is not just a fancy term, it's not just a formal expression. It must be your way of life in your profession. Because dishonesty may reward you on a few occasions. Sooner or later, your reputation will catch up with you. You will stand exposed. You have had the benefit of a state-of-the-art campus. You have had the benefit of the most eminent visitors. You have had the benefit of an excellent faculty. But you could never have got to where you are without the most important people in your lives. Among the most important people in your lives, your teachers. There is a well-known story of a teacher driving in his 1939 Austin with a sticker behind saying, "Go ahead, overtake me. Most of my students already have." No, I think this is one of the most misunderstood sayings. I don't think the teacher lamented at all. He had a sense of humor, and in fact, I think he meant it quite differently. Students never overtake their teachers. Teachers never overtake their students, because they don't run the same race. Students and teachers don't run a race. Our teachers help us run life's race. So when you overtake your teacher in your fancy Ferraris and BMWs or whatever, remember, it is your machine that is overtaking your teacher's machine. You have not overtaken your teacher. I wish you all well for the future. You will do well. But remember, please keep in touch with the university. A good alumnus is a very important and a very valuable asset for any institution. I cannot end without thanking my colleagues, Justice Hemant Gupta and Justice Rajiv Bhalla, for their contribution, which was acknowledged yesterday at the meeting and is acknowledged by everyone. We will be missing them. We'll be missing both of you brothers. Thank you for everything that you've done. Right. Thank you. God bless. And join in.
Thank you. I now request Professor Dr. Paramjit Singh Jaswal, Vice Chancellor RGNUL, to please invite Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Dheeraj Singh Thakur, for the convocation address. Sir, please.
Honorable Mr. Justice T.S. Thakur, the Chief Justice of India, Sir, I have the honor to request your Lordship to deliver the convocation address.
My esteemed brother Justice Anil Ramesh, Justice Wazifdar, Acting Chief Justice, High Court of Punjab and Haryana, and Chancellor of this University, Professor Jaswal, Vice Chancellor, our brother judges from the High Court of Punjab and Haryana, on the dais and in the audience, members of the faculty, judicial officers, senior officers of the government of Punjab, parents of the students who are passing out, and my dear students, ladies and gentlemen. The Chancellor, Justice Wazifdar, has spoken very eloquently about what all should and should not be done by those who are looking for a career in law. In our fraternity, when we agree with whatever is said by another colleague, we simply say, yes, I agree, and that is the end of the address. But since it is a convocation address, I cannot have a shortcut. I would say that I agree entirely with what Brother Wazifdar has said, and yet join him in complimenting the students who have done so extremely well in completing their studies here, that they are awarded these degrees on account of the disciplined work for a period of 5 years under the guidance of a very illustrious and capable teachers. We saw some of you have won prizes. Those who won these prizes deserve to be complimented, congratulated. And I join my colleagues and everyone present here in complimenting those prize winners. But those who have not made it need not be disappointed, because I can assure them that this is only the threshold of life. The greater prizes that await you have yet to come, and the race that you will all join, no sooner you do leave the portals of this great institution, has yet to start. As you step out from the protected and privileged portals of this institution into the wide open and hostile world outside, you will be faced with hard bargains, harsh realities of life, and often very irresistible distractions. The desire to do public service on the one hand, and the urge to secure your personal comforts on the other, will make competing demands on your attention. It is good then to listen carefully to your trained legal sense of right and wrong. But remember that what is purely legal is not always and necessarily ethical. Also remember the difference between the letter of law and the spirit of law. Any legal point of view or proposition must be tested against what your conscience may say in its innate innocence. The ability to do so is a treasure you have inherited from your family and friends. It symbolizes your culture, your personality, and your unique individual identity. The synthesis of this inheritance with the words of law remains a constant challenge for life. But then, you have been trained in one subject of law after another to handle conflict resolution rationally. You are familiar with the power of reason and logic as an analytical tool. You have learned to handle words, expressions, and the language for formulating propositions and for analysis. As a forensic expert, you justify your attack or defense of ideas, points of view and arguments. You are now familiar with the science of law for a binary breakup into bits to hold forth on an issue. You are also familiar with the forensic art of cajoling and persuading to the conclusion that you desire. You will be using these skills to earn a livelihood. But the question will be, what is it that you should do that will lead you to a life of dignity? For it is dignity that gives you pride in what you do in yourself. It gives you meaning, it gives meaning to your work and life. And a meaningful life is what leads to happiness, inner peace and contentment. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the poetry of Allama Iqbal, the great poet. But he has said, खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. So when you talk of dignity in profession or dignity in life, this is the greatest lesson that he has given. खुद ही को कर बुलंद. It is not that you elevate yourself. No, your self-esteem, आपके अंदर जो खुदी है, the self-esteem in you should prevent you from stooping to a level where you may compromise with your conscience. So never compromise with your conscience. Never compromise with your self-respect. You will see many cases of malpractice, unethical behavior, misconduct going on in the profession as you step out. You will find many people flourishing on account of those malpractices. But as the Vice Chancellor and as the Chancellor told you, shortcuts will never help you. Stick to your principles. And that is what Allama Iqbal also meant when he said, खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे. Now, how does this dignity come for a person trained in law to find meaning of words? It comes from the text of your actions in the context of your ethics. When in the rush for a lucrative livelihood you separate the text from the context, you very surely sow the seeds for your unhappiness. Sooner or later you will come to grief if you are to falter from your ethics. If text alienates you from the context, you split your personality. You violate the Benthamite pleasure-pain principle. Always remember that as the context you are larger than the lucre. That lucre is meant to serve you and not master you. There are times when lawyers were known to be concerned only with their fees. There is a couplet which says, "Na degree ki khushi, na dismissi ka gam, fakat mehtana se hai wabasta." This used to be. You see, these are things said about lawyers. Na degree ki khushi, na dismissi ka gam, fakat mehtana se hai wabasta. That approach is not ethical, and so long as you remain concerned only with your fees, you will be missing the subtler and the higher value to which you are committed. I always feel that in the life of a lawyer, it is not the amount of fee that he receives, which he remembers, which the lawyer remembers. It is the contribution which the lawyer has made to the process of administration of justice that he remembers. If as a lawyer you have worked very hard in a case, if you have thought of an original point in a case, and if you have presented that case at that point beautifully in the court and won that case, that event or that effort or that ingenious argument which you thought you have invented will be remembered by you for the rest of your life. You will never remember the amount that you received towards the fee. So therefore, the satisfaction of a lawyer does not lie in the monetary gain that you receive. It lies in the fact that you become a part of the process of administration of justice. You become a part of a process that goes on in the court, a live process, a real life situation. Unlike in the film world, where they show the judge is ready with the judgment and suddenly some witness appears in the door and says, "Judge Saab, ruk jaiye, maine kuch bolna hai." And then he says, "Judge Saab, acha idhar aa jaiye, idhar se boliye." That is not how life is. That is not how in reality the courts function. So when you go and when you enter the profession, you will find that the reality about legal process is different. But the satisfaction of the lawyer comes from the fact that he is a very, very important functionary or a very important actor in that drama which is played out in the court. And it's a real life drama. It is not a hypothetical drama. It's not a moot court that you do. It's a real court that you will be confronting. The fact that somebody has come to you, reposed confidence in your ability to handle his case, itself is a great reward, I would say, for a youngster. Because, believe me, if the doctor is incompetent, his own father will also not get treated from. So also if the lawyer is incompetent, his own brother, his own relative, his own friend will not trust him. Therefore, if somebody comes to a lawyer and trusts you with his case, you should consider this as a great reward because of your reputation. Maybe he has seen you arguing a case as a junior of your senior. Maybe he has seen you or has heard about you, about the way you burn midnight oil to, prepare a case. That is your reward for what you have done. And that should be grabbed. Opportunities knock at everybody's door. You should be at home. If you are somewhere in a cinema hall or you are somewhere, wasting your time, it may not return. Or even if it returns, it may return after ages. Therefore, for a youngster, a young lawyer who is wanting to make a mark in the profession, the most important thing is that you must not let the opportunity go waste. Don't let it slip out of your hand. Because if you do that, it may take a long time before it returns. Number one. Number two, the opportunity when you grab it, you must perform to the best. As I said, in the drama that is played out in the court, you are a very, very important actor in that. You are like an artist who keeps waiting outside a producer or a director's room waiting for a break. And if you perform well, when the break is given, you go forward. But should you not perform well, you will be nowhere, you will be lost. But remember that your opponent will be your next client. The person against whom you are appearing will accept you as his counsel if he feels that this counsel who appeared against me is a hard-working person. He has made my life miserable. He would next time come to you to engage you because he would like the life of your opponent or his opponent to be made miserable. So this is how reputation spreads. And these are the elementary principles. Some of you may have the advantage of being from legal background. Someone in the family is a lawyer, someone is a judge, someone is, you see, a relative is a lawyer. But there are many more who have no background. And for them, it is very essential to understand the principle that drives the profession. It is that principle which is sometimes missed by people. They feel, no, if you know the judges, you can rise the profession. Remember, knowing judges is not important. If a judge is favoring you, he may favor you for 6 months, 1 year, but after 6 months, you will be lost. But if you are good professionally, you will be able to make a mark regardless who the judge is. Judges also respect only hard-working, sincere gentlemen who are at the bar. If you are too smart, if you are too clever, if you play tricks with the court, if you do not inspire the court's confidence, you are a loser. And therefore, never play your game, never pitch your game too high before a judge. Because a judge is a very, very sober, experienced player himself. He would understand, he'll see through your game. A judge is impressed by the sincerity of the lawyer, by his politeness, by his hard work, by his commitment, and by his very, very courteous behavior. So remember, these are the instruments with which you will push your careers forward. Always remember that every human being in this world is in pursuit of happiness. But remember that not only the end, but even the means adopted to achieve that end must be fair. So use your legal training and skills to create happiness for yourself and for others. Do not lose the meaning of your life by separating the text from the context. Never forget that you belong to a privileged class of Indians with the added privilege of studying law in a national law university. I didn't have the good opportunity or the good fortune of studying in a law school like this. I was telling my colleagues that when we started our LLB courses in Jammu University, we didn't have a building. We didn't have a classroom. The English department's classrooms were vacated by 2 o'clock during summer because the university would start at 8 and by 2 those studying for MA English would go. And the vacant classrooms were then used by our law teachers to teach us. If a person who studied in that kind of an arrangement can be the Chief Justice of India, he'll expect you to go higher. You studied in one of the finest law schools that this country today has. A grade. As was mentioned, in terms of infrastructure, A grade. My university, the law faculty in which I studied my law, didn't have a grade at all, but to speak of even C grade, could not qualify for a grade because we didn't have a place. We were literally going and, you see, intruding in some other department and sitting and studying. But the advantage I feel that has brought me this far is that the teachers were excellent. Imagine in 1970, 45 years ago, yes. Ian Saraf was a LLM from Yale. Professor Saran Gurdev Singh, he was also from, I think, Yale. He was from Columbia University. Outstanding teachers. Outstanding, I would say. It was such a pleasure listening to those great scholars in the classroom. Jurisprudence and contract. Professor Ian Saraf. I mean, we could have avoided any class, but not Saraf's class. Sorry, it's a humble tribute to my own teachers. Do not forget the teachers who brought to light the subject that they taught, who gave meaning to mere words, and who by simplicity of the way of life and rectitude showed you how trained passions ignite life to happiness for you and thereby for themselves. So nurture the passion for law, nurture it and share it. If you do that in your life, participative democracy in your families and the country is assured. Remember that you owe this to yourself, the society and the nation that has brought you to this happy day and event in your life. Always remember that constitutional law taught you the principle of equality of opportunity for all Indians and also the pain of its denial for most of us. The first step to adopting a humane approach and in protecting human rights is to recognize that all human beings are born equal. Powerful expressions like justice and human rights lose all meaning if despite equality in birth, equality in the matter of education, knowledge, skill development is blocked because of poverty, discrimination based on caste, creed, social backwardness and the like. Yet this is our plight today. Not all the children get an equal and fair chance to fully develop, grow and blossom to their potential primarily because of lack of an equal opportunity. Economists concede that India has enough wealth to wipe out the poverty twice over. The graduated shades of poverty match the graduated denial of access to national resources, even though our legal system prohibits such denial. An army of dedicated lawyers is needed to ensure enforcement of the law as it exists to lead a movement for the change of law wherever and whenever required, and to eliminate undeserved want and to create a socio-economic system in which equality of opportunity becomes a reality. So try to be part of this change and where necessary, be the change yourself. This is legal secularism, a nation with an effective rule of law for all. Remember that your teachers who taught you that law is one integrated subject of knowledge and that it is divided into subjects only for the sake of teaching and controllable knowledge modules. That puts on you a duty to be knowledgeable and skillful as much as in corporate taxation and property law as in constitutional, environmental and procedural law. Law deals with life, and life is not compartmentalized. Hence, have a vision of yourself as a contributing and sharing member towards working towards a happier society here and now, and not in some karmic future. About life, this said, जिंदगानी की हकीकत को ओकन के दिल से पूछ. If you want to know what life is, you must have heard, there's a story about Shiri and Farhad. Have you heard about it? Shiri was a princess and Farhad was in love with her, and the king said, all right, I'll get her married to you if you can cut a canal across the mountain. So, Baal has said on that basis, जिंदगानी की हकीकत ओकन के दिल से पूछ. ओकन होता है जो पहाड़ काटता. अगर जिंदगानी की हकीकत देखनी है तो पहाड़ काटने वाले के दिल से पूछ. जुएशीर होती है, जू होती है नहर, शीर दूध होता है, दूध की नहर. King had said कि दूध की नहर लाओगे तो शीरी का हाथ हमारे हाथ में. जुएशीर तेशा व संगे गरा है जिंदगी. तेशा इज द मीन्स जिससे पहाड़ काटा जाता है, और संगे गरा है ऑब्स्टिकल्स. सो व्हाट इज conveyed is, what is life? Life is nothing but an object, jueshi. You have to reach a particular destination, an object. Tesha, the means to achieve that object. Or Sangegara means obstacles. Sangegara, sang patthar ko bolte. So that Sangegara is the patthar which is your obstruction. So if you talk of life, or if you think of life, what is it? You are going to face life. You are just making the beginning of your life. And therefore you must have a clear concept of what life is. Life is an object. Life are the means, and life are the and obstacles are a part of that process. So, Jueshir was Sange Garan, Jueshir Tesha was Sange Garan hai Zindagi. Legal leadership is possible if you keep pace with evolving needs of competence in law. Today it is not enough to know the changes in legislation and judgments which are all available on the websites. It is also necessary to know the new languages of mathematics, of computers, of software and cloud computing that apply to legal profession. Client confidentiality, the trust of documents, testimonies and signed wakalatnamas that a client places in the hands of his lawyer is changing form from written to digital world. Accordingly, the duty and ethics of lawyering make it essential to be aware of the electronic vulnerability of such trust. Science and technology have changed the very meaning of multidisciplinary knowledge for those being trained in the law. Legal data analytics and predictive legal analysis based on mathematical modeling are the cutting-edge frontiers of law. The legal intellect needs to absorb these vast knowledge frontiers and techniques if we are to mark our presence in the international legal world by an efficient use of law in all fields of regulation. Armed now with your law degrees, your task is to meet this challenge of constant renewal. You are our hope. Let this degree be a song to your spirit for a flight into the future. Life symbolizes a constant change in one's environment and surroundings, but some places from which you depart are unforgettable. Surely you cannot forget the institution where you spent the 5 prime years of your youth. The memories of this place will stay in your heart and mind forever. So even as you are leaving, you would not have disconnected yourself from this university because your innate love for it will make you contribute to its enrichment as an alumni. This contribution can be in many ways, coming to the university and helping it out in terms of thinking and executing new ideas, contributing financially and administratively by collaborating or by the creation of chairs for specific subjects of law. You may do all this in a small or great measure, but you, as the alumni, will always remain the ambassadors of the institution to the world at large. I wish you and your families my heartiest congratulations and best wishes for a bright and successful life that awaits you outside this great center of learning. Thank you very much. And welcome.
I now call upon Professor Dr. Paramjit Singh Jaswal, Vice Chancellor, RGNUL, to please request the Honorable Chancellor to declare the convocation closed.
Honorable Chancellor, Rajiv Gandhi National University of Law, Punjab. Sir, I have the honor to request your Lordship to declare the convocation closed.
I declare the convocation closed.
Of the proceedings, I request you all to please rise for the national anthem. As the academic procession retreats, I request everyone to please stay seated here in the hall.